You've probably seen this happen. Someone who loved intensely, who texted back immediately, who made you feel like the most important person in the room, who looked you in the eye and said, "I've never felt this way before." And you could tell they meant it. And then one day, something shifted. Not slowly. Not with a fight you can point to, just a shift. And the person who was all the way in became someone you couldn't reach. You've been trying to understand it ever since. Jung had a name for it. The easy explanation is that they were never real. It was love bombing, manipulation. Maybe, but that doesn't explain why it happens to people who are all in, who aren't performing, who are actually there. The second explanation is fear of intimacy. They got close, panicked, and ran. Closer, but still not the whole picture. Jung borrowed an idea from ancient philosophy. Anything pushed to its extreme eventually becomes its opposite. He called it Enantiodromia. It sounds like a mouthful. The idea is one of the simplest he ever had. Think about a rubber band. Stretch it as far as it goes in one direction. When it releases, it doesn't come back to neutral. It whips the other way. That's enantiodromia. In your body, in your psychology, in your relationships. The person who loved most intensely had pushed themselves all the way to one end. Every text answered, every moment accounted for. The relationship became everything. The psyche can't hold that. It has a correction built in. When something is pushed far enough in one direction, the unconscious starts pulling the other way. Not deliberately, not because they stopped loving you, because the system was correcting itself. The flip isn't a decision, it feels like one from the outside. From the inside, it often feels like waking up, like being able to breathe again. That's not cruelty. That's a psyche that held too much for too long, finally releasing. Here's the hard part. The intensity you fell for was real. But intensity was always a signal. Not because intense love is fake, because intensity in one direction always has intensity in the other direction waiting. The person who loved you all the way is capable of pulling away all the way. Not because they're two people, because they're one person who only knows how to go to the end of things. The question worth sitting with isn't, why did they change? It's, did I fall for the person or did I fall for the intensity? Because the love that doesn't flip is the kind that never had to stretch that far. You're not wrong to want that. Think about the most intense love you've felt. Was the intensity the point? Or was it covering for something that wasn't quite there yet? Next video. Why you keep almost committing but never quite landing. Jung called it the puer aeternus, the eternal boy, and it explains a pattern that most people spend years trying to name. Subscribe. We go deeper every week.